Andy, I'm unmuted.
Ready? An executive session was held prior to the work session to discuss personnel items. With that, we'll go on to the work session agenda. You all had this agenda. Do you have any additions? If not, we'll move on to the regular meeting. Call the roll.
Mr. Dabasky?
Here.
Mr. Duffy?
Here.
Mr. Evans?
Here.
Mr. Sanders? Mr. Camus?
Here.
Mr. Martin?
Here.
Mr. Kaczynski?
Here.
Mr. Richards?
Here.
Mr. Eastsavage?
Here. Okay, we'll have a moment of silence followed by a salute to the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
States of America.
and to the republic
Which
stands one nation, under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice.
I need a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes.
Second.
Okay. I also need a meeting, or a motion to, do we have a special meeting on here? Yeah, okay, the special meeting, so move for athletics, so move.
Second again.
Okay. Superintendent's comments.
Thank you, Mr. Major. In honor of Veterans Day 2020, the Wyoming Valley West High School has pioneered an initiative called Sweets for Soldiers. Tomorrow, Wednesday, November 11th, students from the high school student council will be delivering cookie trays to American Legions as a small sign of the district's appreciation for those who served. The high school administration, in conjunction with Ms. Sickler and Mr. Chamola, came up with the idea as a way of acknowledging these heroes during the unusual circumstances this year. Thank you to the Student Council, and most importantly, thank you to all the veterans and active service members. Congratulations to our girls field hockey standout Cameron Forgash and Jillian Boncheski. Both girls have recently committed to Big Ten schools. Cameron will be attending Ohio State University. Jillian will be attending Michigan State. Good luck to both girls.
Nice.
Also, Ava Carey, a member of our boys and girls golf team, recently competed in the district competition held at Elkview Country Club. Congratulations, Ava. I would also like to announce a calendar adjustment for next week. We will not be having the parent-teacher conferences next week, obviously because of the pandemic, so that the parent-teacher conferences will not be held next Monday, next Tuesday, or Wednesday, November 16th, 17th, or 18th. They are postponed. Parents can arrange an informal conference directly with teachers via email or a phone conference. Now, as a result of the cancellation of the parent-teacher conferences, Monday and Tuesday will now be full instructional days. They will not be Act 80 days. So those students, Group A students, Monday and Tuesday will be full instructional days. Wednesday will be the virtual day for students and staff under that hybrid plan. Also, one other announcement. I'd like to take this opportunity from a middle school perspective. The Veterans Day has always been a special tradition here at the middle school. Unfortunately, this year, there will not be the traditional honorary ceremony. However, through the efforts of Mrs. Lori Tilger, our 8th grade family and consumer science teacher, our veterans will be recognized with donations by the Wyoming Valley West faculty, staff, and students to the Sneakers for Soldiers program. Sneakers are provided to our military to maintain their physical fitness in the Middle East through donations. Letters from the soldiers have expressed sincere gratitude for this gift, letting them know that they are in our thoughts and never forgotten. Our slogan is, "Put your best foot forward." Wyoming Valley West supports our troop. In a short amount of time, the Wyoming Valley West community has done that by collecting $1,137. Thank you to Mrs. Tilger for once again helping honor our veterans. And I can tell you, the middle school ran that last year. They were on ABC World News tonight. They were featured, and it's a terrific fundraiser. So congratulations to Mrs. Tilger and the middle school. Thank you, Mr. Majer.
Thank you, Mr. Tosh. Statements from interested citizens. Citizens addressing the board are asked to state their name and town of residence in accordance with board policy number 903. Statements are limited to 3 minutes. Okay, we don't have any. We'll move on to general recommended action. Need a motion. So moved.
You have them open, right? There's just nobody asking any questions?
Mrs. Cranston, you may speak.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, good evening. Colleen Cranston, Kingston. I'd like to ask about the decision to return to school. I'm not sure if you realize, and I'm wondering if any of you are clinical, but I do work in healthcare. I'm a nurse. And there has been a substantial increase in cases and a rise also in the positive percentages. So I'm wondering what is different now versus the spring to make the determination to go back. As well, I'd like to know if the board and the district plans on being transparent and sharing with us the number of cases in the different schools. So as parents, we can make an educated decision if we want to send our children back to the school. As parents, we are put in a position to try to make this decision, but we're not provided the tools that we need to make this informed decision. And I can tell you that as of today, I had a patient that went to a local hospital for COVID, and there were no local beds for COVID, and was sent out of the area to another hospital. And I'd also like to know, with the amount of teachers and students that did not go back yesterday, I understand that there's been some combining of classes and kids moved into other classes. And I'd like to know how that's being addressed and what protocols are you taking to ensure that the kids are safe?
Thank you for that question. I'll start off by saying, let me say that obviously with all the schools in the area, it's a very, very difficult decision. On one hand, we're trying to balance getting students back into a routine to meet the needs of their physical, their mental, their social, and their emotional needs from being out as long as they have been. There's obviously been a tremendous disconnect. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to find a balance where we can meet their needs, but again, obviously being cognizant of some of the safety concerns that you do accurately bring up. I will throw it to our pandemic coordinator, Mr. Anthony Dickton, and we talked about this tonight in the closed session, and we briefed the board on a number of issues that we looked at, you know, as far as our decision to try and get through the next couple days and to get to hopefully Thanksgiving. So Mr. Dickton has done a tremendous job as our pandemic coordinator, and I'll give him the microphone to give you a little bit of briefing of some of the things that we looked at. But thank you for your comments.
Hi, good evening, Colleen. Could you hear me?
Yes, Anthony.
Hey, first, let me thank you for your service in the healthcare industry. I know it's rough times for everybody. What we decided as a district when we decided to come back was look at the numbers within the Valley West School District 9 communities. And currently in the last 5 days, the average cases in our 9 towns has been 15. It peaked at 29. I think the lowest was at 4. And on our district website, I have a link, and in that link, I have the cases for each building. I have it broken down as current adult cases, positive cases, and currently in the district as of this afternoon, there are 4 positive adult cases. There are no student cases in all 7 buildings. There are 9 adults out of the 500 and some employees that are in isolation. And currently there are 33 students in isolation. So when we looked at those numbers, we felt it was safe to come back in school because of the hybrid model that we chose to come back in. As you're aware, the students are 50% Monday and Tuesday, 50% Thursday and Friday. And even out of those 50% of students, some decide to remain on Google Classroom. So the numbers are even a little bit smaller than that. In each of our buildings, we have purchased a number of PPE for all the teachers and students. Students come masked now that there's a mask mandate, and as you're aware, the masks work to help prevent the spread of COVID. Teachers were provided a face shield and masks that they wear throughout the day. There is hand sanitizer in every classroom, so students can sanitize pre and post entering the classroom, which is above what they need to do to remain safe from COVID. And to answer your question about the combining of classes when we're short on subs, because there's a shortage of subs among all districts, even pre-pandemic. When we combine classes, what we do is we look at the number of students of the classes we're combining, and we don't overcrowd those classes. So it's a little bit of misinformation when we say we're combining classes. You know, we're thinking of a traditional classroom where we're putting 20 plus kids with another 20 plus kids. That's not the case. In some cases, we're combining 4 kids with an additional 4 kids for a total of 8 kids in one room. So we would never put anybody at risk to combine classes where kids couldn't distance and be safe from the teacher and safe from each other.
Anthony,
Does that answer all your questions?
well, I understand that, yes, you have the policies and procedures. I guess my question is, do you have a point person or people in each building to ensure this is being done, that we can say in theory, yes, we want everyone to wear a mask and you know, sanitize going in and out and
Yes.
safe distance. But of course I do have other, you know, kids that are saying, oh, so-and-so takes their mask off all the time, or theirs is down.
Nope, not to cut you off, but absolutely, we do. You know, the administration walks around throughout the day. The teachers obviously are making sure that students are following the protocols. If they're not, they're told to send those students to the principals right away. The nurses have sheets to check when a kid comes to the nurse not feeling well. We'll send a student home if they meet the criteria that presents any symptoms of COVID. And those students are sent home and they're mandated to stay home for 10 days unless they get a note from a doctor or they get a negative test. We are following every protocol to the T.
Well, I'm just concerned.
On a side note, you know, I go through the buildings. Students are wearing the masks. They are limited to a 10-minute mask break. As you're aware, there's, you know, 15 minutes or more is considered exposure within 6 feet of someone who's positive. And, you know, to give an example of we had one student that I can think of in the last 2 weeks who was positive, was in school on Thursday, was out Friday because they weren't feeling well. The test came back positive. I contact traced the 48 hours looking back from Friday, the day of symptoms, and nobody in the school on Thursday contracted COVID. The teacher got tested out of precaution. They weren't mandated to. They were negative. The 2 students who were not in close proximity, but who would have, you know, I called the parents because at lunch they sat 5 and a little over a half feet away, but because the requirement is 6 feet, I still contacted those parents, and those 2 students were also negative. So I am confident we are doing everything inside the buildings to make sure that the kids are safe and the teachers are safe.
So despite the recommendations, substantial lever, despite those recommendations being that we're virtual, you feel comfortable that there is, that this is the best course of action for the kids? And with the state recommending virtual learning being in the substantial level, is there any, what's the liability to the district should people get sick and, God forbid, a child bring it home and someone like my husband who's immunocompromised get severely ill or pass away?
Right. Well, the couple key points there, they are recommendations from the state. They're not mandates from the state. And we did talk to the Department of Health last week.
Correct.
And a meeting with PDE, and it was advised that they want kids to be in school. We're not the only school in Luzerne County that is currently back. I know Mr. Tosh had a list of schools that are remaining in hybrid, even with the substantial rating. And again, because the substantial rating is Luzerne County, we want to look at the 9 towns in Valley West School District and then look off that data, not, you may be more aware than I am where the cases are coming from, but what I've been told from talking to the Department of Health when I call to contact trace or to report a positive case, there are other areas that are having some spikes, and the schools are not causing the spread of COVID.
Correct. But just like masks are not mandated, they are recommended. It's also recommended that the children are virtual. It's not mandatory, just like masks, but it's recommended.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you for your input, Anthony. I do appreciate the work you're doing. And I just
Thank you.
wanted to let my opinion be known.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Move on. General recommended action. I need a motion.
So moved. Second.
Call the roll.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Richards?
Yes.
Mr. Savage?
Yes.
Mr. Dabaskis?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes. Okay. Staff recommended action. Motion.
So moved. Second.
Call the roll.
Mr. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Richards?
Yes.
Mr. Savage?
Yes.
Mr. Dabaskis?
Yes.
Mr. Duffinger?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Okay, finance recommended action. Mr. Cardona, you have anything?
Just to say that the external auditors are in, and we've been providing them with information for them to complete their review, so we can have the AFR in by November 3rd.
Okay, listen, Mike, maybe we need to revisit the staff recommended action. Does everyone have this first reading on their, Joanne, or this month? Okay, well, number 6 on staff recommended action. At the end of approved athletic policy as presented, this is the first reading. No, I have to call a roll on that, I guess. No? Okay, you're all aware of that? Okay, board member comments. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Mr. Cardona, you gave this, right? Okay, I need a motion. So moved.
Second.
Call roll.
Mr. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Richards?
Yes.
Mr. Savage?
Yes.
Mr. Dabaskis?
Yes.
Mr. Duffinger?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Okay, board member comments. Everybody's quiet tonight. Okay, next scheduled meeting, reorganization meeting, Tuesday, December 1st, 2020, 7 p.m. Middle school, to be followed by December work session and regular December meeting. Motion to adjourn.
So moved. Night, everyone.